Uh, yeah, if you all just forgive me, like I'm shy and it's my first time, like so, just like okay. So I guess I'll talk a bit about the whole idea of streetlights and what I meant by streetlights. I mean, for one thing, to me it was kind of like the loved ones left behind. So for example, in the part where I said, where I write, more followed you, grandparents of some of my dearest, were you leading them somewhere? Grandma, grieving, more for myself than you, for the ones left behind, crisscrossing the wires of the night. You have no reason to grieve, peace, only the journey out. So, I mean, for the ones who have passed, I mean, they will finally, for them there's no more pain, or there's no more thoughts or suffering. But it's for the ones left behind, like those figurative like streetlights, the family left behind, that we struggle to still hold our light up against that reality, that painful reality of death. And that was a bit of what I was trying to say as well in the second page, where when I say muddy little lights up against an enormous golden sky, painful clarity. So us, the ones left behind, as those little streetlights, still grappling with the mortality of the situation. And the memories have become muddy. The presence of the deceased has become something that has passed out of the world. And it's a painful clarity, in a sense that it's something jarring, right? Okay, so, and then in the parenthesis in the next part, I just wanted to put in this image, giving a little bit more imagery about the city, right? The skyscrapers around the cloud's collar, kind of like this authority, or this titanic authority that strangles the city, right? And of course, the new MRT is like blood drips on concrete floor. I mean, for me, that, the train nowadays, when we take MRT here and there, like it's so fast, yet not really fast enough, because I remember that when my grandma when she was in her coma, we would have to travel there and travel, because we would never know, maybe when the signal for our heart would dip a little bit, then we would all rush there, but then we'd just stay there for a while and be okay, and then we would go back home. But we never knew when it would be the moment that she'll finally pass away. So, I mean, unfortunately, I remember that it was in the middle. It was like in the night, and I thought that it was going to be like any of the other times we would just go and visit, but I couldn't make it in time for her final moments. So in that sense, there's also this frustration that this whole urban maze, and it should be simpler, and yet it's not. Okay, so.
Sorry, Ren, could I ask you, because I found that a really arresting image where you talk about MRTs like blood drips on. That seems very vivid, but the use of blood fitting in there. So you talk about the frustration, but was there anything else? Because I was thinking that's a whole new way of seeing MRT trains. But, yeah.
Sorry. Oh.
Yeah.
What do you mean exactly?
I was just wondering, just that image, new MRTs like blood. Is that like a suggestion of like the red strip on the side? I don't know, or.
The red strip on the side of the MRT itself.
The MRT, yes. I just wonder with the use of.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to think about it that way, I mean, there are many different ways that it could. Let's say you could even. I mean, it's even like the flow of blood, right? From her veins itself,
right,
connected,
okay.
or like it's kind of like, I guess, in that sense, if you think about new MRTs as constructs of the city that are popping up, it's almost as though they further drain the blood of the city itself,
oh, right, okay.
Or the people itself.
No, I think that sounds very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, and in that sense, when we would be using the MRT to rush there, but at the same time, the blood drips would be bringing her closer and closer to her final destination. So I guess in that sense, that idea of going to that final place, or going to that place is also an idea. Okay, so in the next part, this is just prefaces for marble shrines, fine enough for the living to sculpt, but the noble deceased deserve more. So, I mean, prefaces is just, using a roundabout way, a longer way of expression than the shortest way possible. And what I meant again here was that, these marble shrines of modern society, they're man-made, they're expensive. They seem to me like quite a vain thing. Like, I mean, this is months later, so I mean, the poem was not written. The poem was written with like hindsight as well. So this is months later in, like, when in the Mandai crematorium. I don't know like whether you all have been there before, probably. But the Mandai crematorium, like, it looks quite nice and everything. But to me, it struck me as very, like, it didn't seem like a befitting place, a befitting final resting place. It seemed like this huge marble shrine, like I said, but not genuine. Like, it's as though, like, the living, they make this to like, is it to honor the dead, or is it more to insult them? Because it's like, that we have those fire, they put in fires, and like this very cold looking stone building, right? And I guess I felt like the nobility of death was better suited to something more natural. Yeah, okay. And the why I say prefaces in particular is because I meant that, like, there's so much to say, but yet nothing suffices, because it's very simple. Like, there's so many examples to give of how, like, it's not noble enough, or like the city is too strangled, but yet nothing really suffices. Okay. So as we reached the end of the poem, I'll talk here, and well, there I was in my greatest moment of loss, staring so wondering at rows and columns of streetlights. In my mind, they were put off the pavement and shattered, their moments of past scattered into a collective burst. This incandescent furor of big orange that liquefied the streets. So, this is quite a strange abstract idea that I had, I guess, or maybe not really, but I was thinking about, imagine if whenever you pass one of those orange streetlights on the city, whenever you pass one of the streetlights, they kind of catch the fragment of the moment in which you pass them. So in that sense, I was thinking, as though every time I step past a streetlight, it remembers that instant that I stepped past it. So I was thinking about a way to express my frustration, and thinking, well, what if I could, collectively smash every single one of the streetlights in the city and put out all the lights and that light up this place, right? This prison, and release all that power of the times that have gone by, and so-called reduce that towering fortress of the city. And also, I guess, in that way, it's also, instead of thinking about the legacy of what is to come, or what my grandmother left behind, or what can follow after her, it's more of like every single moment that I had with her, like all the moments that have already passed, in the sense that, all those times that I went to places with her, that we spent together, all those moments, those are the ones that the poem is like calling upon. So if only, like, I could call upon the power of all those memories and times that have gone by, and like release them, like maybe it could, the idea that it could reduce the city and give her spirit a clean way out. So like the final stanza, so for one instant there will be no city to come but not yet to be, none at all, and all your souls could find easy exit for some altar above. Yeah, and I mean, my grandmother was a Buddhist, and their orange robes, so it's also kind of about like maybe there's more for her, reincarnation on the other side, so on. Okay, so I was just talking about that shrines and streetlights to give like the idea of emotional backstory behind a poem, and like the forces of like like thoughts and emotions coming together to write a poem, and so on. And yeah, I guess that's it, unless there are any questions. If not, I can go to, I have one more poem to talk about.
Oh, let's hear the poem. That sounds good. And perhaps we could come back to talk about this poem.
Okay.
Sorry.
Should I read this at one go? Or
But did you say that you've got? So you're gonna So yes, read it out. That would be great. Yeah.
okay. So yeah, I'll just read this once through. Okay. All right. The months after you passed were surreal. The past locked away in uneasy textures of sorrow. And now only this gelatinous concave canvas, moments stuck together without much meaning, harshly hissed syllables that do not roll like full words off the tongue. More followed you, grandparents of some of my dearest. Were you leading them somewhere? Grandma? Grieving. More for myself than you, for the ones left behind, crisscrossed in the wires of the night. You have no reason to grieve. Peace. Only the journey out. I imagine in the old days bodies would weather rivers of autumn, and vast clearings would let souls float out to new summer suns. But now must ghosts go through our urban maze, like passengers from an airplane or kites from a cage. I remember still how still the streetlights were, flickering with specks of the past.